feels so good. You're lying here next to me. Oh, what a groove.
Lingdorf, the company that brought you Wife Safe. Patent pending. Welcome back to Stjernholm Reviews, your audiophile entertainment channel, bringing you occasional but always satisfying hi-fi and home cinema reviews, interviews, news, and views for audiophiles.
I hate speakers.
How do you get high-quality audiophile speakers into rooms where your annoyingly interior-aware partner is king?
You know I don't like all that equipment in the house.
Where to look if wanting to avoid sleeping on the couch after bringing home new speakers?
She got me on the couch tonight. I did wrong, but I meant to do right. Now I'm sleeping on the couch tonight.
Say hello to a interior-friendly and original, innovative new speaker that I think might be able to fit the bill, the brand new Lingdorf Q100. I have laid it upon myself to take you through all its pros, cons, and audiophile worthiness, setting out to give the usual honest picture and explore what the Lingdorf can offer us in multiple scenarios. The company Steinway Lingdorf is divided into two main brands, the exclusive and kind of exotic Steinway Lingdorf brand and the premium high-end Lingdorf brand. The brands share the same underlying technology ideas and software and, most importantly, the same values regarding user experience and sound that put together makes their pretty advanced technology easy to use and to be fully exploited by all music lovers. The most affordable complete Lingdorf system you can purchase, I believe to be the TDI 1120 streaming amplifier combined with some of their smaller speakers. Alternatively, you can choose a couple of their in-cabinet speakers as shown here. On the other end of the spectrum, the company offers their Rolls-Royce class Steinway Lingdorf Model D freestanding full-range dipole speakers, along with the head unit and exclusive remote control. In between those options, there are speakers of all shapes and sizes, as well as for in-wall installations and more. While I have previously reviewed Lingdorf's highly advanced and functional 1120 and 3400 integrated amplifiers on this channel, I have yet to review any of their speakers, something that will now stand corrected. For the Lingdorf brand, the company has maintained a somewhat low-profile design-wise with conservative square speakers like the tiny MH3s and the MH2s, and the larger full-range on-wall FR1. They have recently introduced purpose-specific models together with the complete CI series. They also offer the compact boundary woofers BWV3 and BWV2. The new Q100 breaks the conservative design mold and explores a new ground for the Lingdorf brand, sitting technically in between the classic Lingdorf speakers and the more exclusive Steinway Lingdorf speakers. So let's start with that, the design. The Q100 is almost triangular shaped, relatively compact and made from high quality materials. It sits on a base that you can get in black, white or oak wood that gives it a light appearance in the room. The speaker terminals are cleverly hidden at the bottom with a small exit in the back. While the speaker can be placed on a tabletop if needed, it is designed to be a freestanding speaker placed on the individual oak wood legs that screws into the solid base, providing a rigid and high quality feel. The three tapered and slightly rounded sides are machined from 35mm MDF, reducing resonance and internal standing waves while giving the speaker a pretty sleek appearance. For people who prefer not to look at driver units, also commonly referred to as crazy weirdos, there are 5 optional high-quality fabrics to choose from. These fabrics are sewn into a top plate and then pulled over the speaker for a snug fit. These speaker condoms, handmade in Denmark, seals magnetically to the speaker's top plate. A very unique and elegant solution that allows you to easily swap fabric colors. Accounting for all possible variants, there are 24 possible looks achievable, and optionally adding the speaker condom of choice that makes you the most happy. It's hard to capture the unique shape accurately on film. In my test setup here, I hooked up the massive fire hose speaker cables from German company Inakustik called Reference Air 2404. Das ist der absolute Referenz. I think it's a great looking piece of functional design with lots of lovely details. I especially like the Wi-Fi knick-knack protected top plate, which is sloping just enough to make it challenging to place plants and Christmas knick-knacks on top of the speakers. Your AV therapist here knows that the struggle is real. But don't worry, the Q100 brings the medicine.
But honey, where do I put the flowers?
New designs naturally always divide opinions, but great designs always win people over with time. I personally consider this one of those that will stand the test of time. When it comes to the tech in the Q100, Linkdorf brings out the big guns, teaming up with Purify to make an even better version of their 6.5-inch woofer using aluminium for the cone. This woofer is taking the audio world by storm as the uniquely shaped cone edge suspension and long throw woofer are lowering the breakup distortion a lot, allowing the woofer to keep up appearances even while working hard. In a two-way design, this is key to a clear mid-range while delivering great bass performance relative to the woofer size, of course. Q100 uses one front-facing woofer and 2 passive woofers radiating the bass into the room to help with an impressive even bass distribution. The tweeter is Linkdorf's own AMT, short for Air Motion Transformer, an extremely high-performing tweeter type also found in the exotic Steinway Linkdorf speakers. The technical data suggests a very large frequency range going as low as 35 Hz and a rather low speaker sensitivity of 83 dBs. Amplifier-wise,
we may have to blast.
So that's it. Thank you for watching. Just kidding. Small speakers just have to work harder in order to deliver larger sound pressure levels. The Q100 is intended to be a standalone full-range speaker, and for a two-way system with a 6.5-inch woofer, it does an amazingly good job. For comparison, a while back I reviewed the wonderfully sounding Raidho TD 1.2 speaker, which is another Danish high-end compact speaker. I especially noticed how quickly the mid-range could lose composure when playing a bit spirited in this room, meaning that the quality of, for example, the vocals starts to be affected by the woofer fighting to deliver bass. This is normal for smaller two-way speakers that are naturally intended for smaller rooms and lower playback volumes. In my listening position, 3 meters away from the speakers, they will produce about 85 dB SPL before I notice any loss of composure. That is really impressive and about 10 dBs more than what I experienced with the Raidho TD 1.2s. So the Purify tech here is definitely working. 10 dBs more is twice as loud. But when Lizzo's About Damn Time comes on with heavy bass content and you turn on that vacuum cleaner wanting to dance semi-naked 10 meters away in rooms like those portrayed in the Linkdorf marketing, all you will hear is the woofers hammering in their end stops as they can't move enough air to support that kind of activity. Does that mean that if you need more, you will have to look for other speakers? Nope. Not necessarily, and especially not if you're using a Linkdorf amplifier too. In order to get more headroom on tap, we can either get a much bigger speaker.
No.
I figured out another solution, okay.
I'm gonna cook a quiet on here, got in a minute.
Hey, no, you don't bucket.
Give me a bucket, off it! I'm right now. Right.
Murderators.
Or utilize the genius of boundary woofer technology perfected by Linkdorf that comes in as a way to get huge performance from small speaker systems.
The question is, what exactly happens if we add two of their BWV2 woofers and set them up perfectly in this room? That's a practical experiment really worth doing now that we have a real-life idea of the standalone performance of the Q100s sound pressure-wise. The great benefit of boundary setups is very good bass distribution, not really possible with a single subwoofer. By placing woofers in each corner of the room, we also find room modes that can affect bass performance in the listening position. Another great benefit of corner placing the woofers is the significant acoustical gain you get there, usually more than 6 dBs of extra gain. For perspective, 6 dB more gain is equal to getting a 3 times more powerful amplifier for free. Yes, work smarter, not harder, right? Most importantly, by adding two woofers, we can take a tremendous load off the small drivers here. Usually, common wisdom is that you will have to use rather low crossover frequencies like 80 or 100 Hz with subwoofers in order for the brain not to detect the placement of the sub. But when using boundary woofers, this problem is eliminated as we now have symmetry and a woofer for each side, allowing us to use much higher crossover frequencies, in this case as high as 160 Hz, thus unloading the Q100 woofer almost completely and letting the woofers in the BWV2s do all the tough work. Naturally, the 3400 integrated amplifier is key to getting all that to work perfectly. It has massive amounts of power to unlock the full potential of the relatively low efficiency Q100, we might say, and Linkdorf engineered derived preset settings to set everything up easily. The BWV2 woofer is a very slim package, easy to place in a corner, behind a curtain, or somewhere else without making any big visual noise in the decor. There are presets provided and a diagram showing you where to connect the speakers and the woofers. Next, you will want to take advantage of the built-in Room Perfect room correction system in the 3400. It's a great and musical system overall that also ensures perfect woofer integration and can compensate for less than optimal speaker placements. To do the room measurements, you simply follow the guide and move the supplied microphone. After running Room Perfect with two BWV2 woofers added to the mix, a brand new beast of a setup is revealed. Since the Q100 speakers are offloaded so much, with all the bass energy being directed to woofers, they now retain their clarity and effortlessness even at much higher volumes. I do the Liso vacuum cleaning test and get at least 15 dBs more headroom. In real life, in this room, on a music night, I carry out the Wi-Fi test using my wife's interesting playlists, quickly resulting in which is something that only happens if she gets moved by the actual sound or want to impress other men present in the room. But in this case, only I and the dog and the Q100 setup was present, so I take it was the Linkdorf sound. The ability to add that kind of performance lift, if needed, is simply an underrated Linkdorf technology trademark. While it's possible to mimic with other systems, I have never experienced it working as well as it does with these systems. Thanks to Room Perfect and good engineering, the results are always seamless, natural sounding, and easy to achieve, allowing for an amazing real-world flexibility that I find very impressive in light of all the other systems I try and test on a regular basis. On top of the room-perfected sound, we can also add a voicing filter from built-in presets or create our own, allowing for tailoring the sound to your exact preferences. Voicing filters are not just a simple tone control, they are 8-band, super flexible professional EQs capable of fine-tuning any aspect of the frequency spectrum, allowing you to achieve just the sound tuning you want. I gave the Q100s the full Stjernholm dating treatment to slowly discover what these ladies are all about. I used them standalone with a load-powered amp with another room correction system, tried different placements, used them as standalone shelf speakers with a fully analog setup with powerful amplifiers, and then turned to the Linkdorf ecosystem using the 3400 integrated amplifier with standalone Q100s first. Lastly, I did the Boundary woofer setup for the final exam of the young, well-dressed ladies. The resulting sound in each case is very Linkdorf. Here you get a correct, dry and tight sound, leaning to the conservative side in my ears. There's no coloring, no spices that don't belong added. Even if it can be viewed as sounding negative to some, the truth is that the soul of the sound is that of an accountant, which goal is to achieve perfect accounting reconciliation. This is a good thing and offers a fine balance that works with any kind of music. In short, natural sounding, but restricting the creativity in translation, if we can call it that. That is what gives other systems their personas, whether you like them or not.
When we make speakers, when we make amplifiers, we try to reproduce what's on the recording in your living room and nothing else.
If the Linkdorf system was a wife, she would be disciplined, but can be talked into wearing a bit more makeup, but it will always be tasteful. You will never see her twerking on the dance floor wearing a G-string or dressed up in pink boots and short shirts showing anything other than an elegant hint of cleavage. But here's the thing. You can always count on her, and she's capable of lifting heavy weights, run a half marathon, and keep up composure every day and in every aspect of life. She's neither a nun or a whore. I found the Q100 to be extremely good and safe sounding together with Linkdorf electronics, especially with voices. That sounds amazing. You can listen for hours without any fatigue. No matter what I threw at them, they deliver dynamics and the spunk of the music. I feel they can lack some finer microdynamics and texture in comparison with a speaker like the Raito TD1.2 previously tested here on the channel. But then again, the Q100s can take on much larger rooms and give you more sense of scale. The highs are never excessive, no matter the challenge. On the very challenging 2L recording of the Cantus Choir performing Kyrie, that brings many a speaker to their knees in the top end, I'm really impressed with how well that AMT tweeter just holds up. At lower volumes, I found the Q100 to be less articulated than when playing it at a bit higher volumes. In essence, they need a little juice to really open up, or a little help from the tone control. When combined with the 3400 amplifier and the BWV2 woofers and the smart factory settings, of course, you can push the speakers quite hard while the system maintains control through limiters, preventing it from being pushed beyond its limits. In fact, what happens is that you gradually lose dynamic range, indicating when it's time to ease a bit off. The Linkdorf guys, they seem to have thought of everything here. The true sound nirvana, eargasm, for me was achieved with this setup, listening to music like Mighty Mo Rogers and his The Boy Who Stole the Blues, Boris Blank and Malia on Celestial Echo. Check that album. It was totally missed by me until recently, and what a sonic delight. It sounds crazy. Other perfect selections was tracks like D'Angelo's Africa and Prince, When the Lights Go Down and such, all played at reasonably spirited levels, utilizing the boundary setup. The soundstage the system renders when placed freestanding was calm and deep and precise. You can always find all music mentioned here in the reviews on the Sonic Snacks playlist, linked to in the video description. That in itself is a treasure trove of information with nobody trying to sell you anything. So don't be afraid to dip your toes in there. The Q100 is a lifestyle-friendly designer speaker that excels in sound performance without compromising on aesthetics, unlike many other designer systems. It seamlessly blends into various decor styles thanks to its range of color options. There's no doubt that this speaker is really suitable for many scenarios where large and bulky speakers are undesired, but where sound quality remains a priority for music lovers. Personally, I find the design of the Q100 to be original and visually appealing. One important aspect to consider is the speaker's pretty low 83 dB efficiency. It can require some muscle from the amplifier to unlock its best performance. As a full-range speaker, the Q100 offers next-level performance compared to other high-end compact two-way speakers I have reviewed. It delivers a dry, well-balanced sound overall with impressive bass performance that rivals or even surpasses that of many floor-standing speakers within the Q100's sound pressure level limits. If you desire more loudness, I recommend adding a couple of boundary woofers, preferably from Linkdorf, along with Linkdorf Electronics, as all the built-in tricks really brings the best out of such system and makes it easy to achieve excellent results. So now let's address the elephant in the room, the price. A pair of either black or white Q100 speakers that always includes the stands cost 20,000 euros a pair. There are optional editions like the oak base for 1,000 euros extra and the Gabriel fabric covers that cost 1,500 euros. The Q100 occupies a unique space in the market, as there really ain't many Scandinavian designed luxury high-end speakers catering to the lifestyle segment. Although not direct competitors, it's worth mentioning the Raito TD 1.2 compact speakers, which cost 25,000 euros for a pair in wood finish, including stands. While the Raito speakers lack a fun fabric option, they can still be customized in terms of cabinet colors. However, their sound pressure level performance is significantly lower compared to the Q100, thus not being the more all-round performer you get with the Q100. Going cheap for half the price, there could be compact speakers like the Bowers & Wilkins 805D4 Signature, but good luck with the interior designer, we're a partner on those, and again, the bass extension and sound pressure performance is nowhere near the Q100. In fact, I think we have to look towards professional studio monitor style speakers like the Genelec 8351A active monitors to get sound pressure performance that can really exceed the Q100s. But a pair of 8351s on a Genelec floor stand with a lot of cables running up and down will probably get you sleeping on the couch, but they will only set you back around 8,000 euros plus an upgrade to the couch maybe. So there you have it. If you don't want to compromise and want that happy wife, happy life at the same time, there really ain't much that can deliver on all fronts like the Q100 can. Now, get out there and listen to a pair while remembering that nothing can replace your own experience. Hear what the Q100 can do for you in your own room with your music. Any good reseller should be able to arrange for a home listening with speakers like this. Stand by for the pros, the cons, and the review score, and remember to tap, tap, tap those like and subscribe buttons and check out all the other awesome content on the channel. Share videos that you find interesting with others in the audiophile forums and social media out there. See you soon here back on the channel, and remember, you will know everything if you just listen.